and gentlemen, we're moving on to a performance that I promise is going to be a memorable one. We all know that music has the power to heal, it has the power to uplift and take us closer to the divine. Now, across cultures and centuries, it has been a bridge between the human and the spiritual, a force that soothes our souls and stirs deep, deep emotions. Tonight, we explore a transformative power of music with three exceptional and young artists who are choosing tradition, innovating with it and bringing deep devotion to their craft as well. Kindly put your hands together for the wonderful Mahesh Raghavan, a composer known for blending Indian classical music with modern electronic sounds. Mahesh, can we please have you on stage? A very, very warm welcome to you. Also inviting Nirali Kartik, a soulful classical vocalist who brings the purity of the ragas to life, as you will see. A very warm welcome to Nirali as well. And I also would like to invite Mehtab Niazi, a sitarist and vocalist carrying forward a rich musical lineage. A very warm welcome to Mehtab Niazi as well. And we have to extend an even louder applause for our moderator for this session, the veteran journalist and presenter, Veer Sangui. Kindly join us on stage, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I think I should tell you that they're going to perform. They've rehearsed, right, a piece at the end. So basically what I'm going to do is just sort of warm up the crowd before you really hear the performance. But before I do that, I want to ask them a little bit to talk a little bit about what it is that inspires them. What made you take up music?
So I was brought up in a South Indian family.
Right.
And when I grew up, the main extracurricular activity in most South Indian families is either you. So for me, it was just music. That was
any kind of music or music?
Classical music. So
Okay.
I grew up learning Carnatic music. My
Okay.
aunt, Mrs. Indra Krishnan, was my first guru, and I started when I was 3. So
Oh, really?
At that time,
But you started what, singing, performing at 3?
So I learned Carnatic music and keyboards.
Okay.
I learned
at that age, at 3?
Yeah, so like there was a keyboard at home and I learned how to play by ear, and my parents
Wow.
were really encouraging.
Yeah.
So they were like, when I was very young, they were like, okay, this boy has to do music.
So when did you know it was going to become a career?
There was no certain point, it was like a journey.
But did you always know music would be your life, or there was no eureka moment?
There was really no, because it was something, even in school, I always grew up saying, okay, this is the guy who plays the keyboard, you know?
Oh, really? So you were known as that?
Yeah, yeah. So I was always interested in music, and it was just like a part of my life since a very young age.
And now look, you made a career out of it.
Yes.
What could make one happier than doing something they love for a living, no?
Exactly. If you're doing what you love for a living, you don't work a single day of
Exactly,
your life.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, Nirali, you're now like this huge star, we see you in ads, etc. But how did it all begin for you?
So unlike Mahesh, I don't come from a musical family. I come from a hardcore Guju family, and business is the way of life and the only conversation.
Brought up in Bombay?
In Ahmedabad.
Okay.
So luckily for me, my mom was a music lover. She is a music lover, and she encouraged me to take up music. And in the start, she decided I want my child to become a classical musician. She decided it for me. Thankfully, mine and her dreams matched. And I just love that she dreamt for me, and I'm able to walk this path.
So in Ahmedabad, was there much scope as a young girl to do classical music?
Not at all. There was not even a single music college.
It was Bhav Ketlo and that kind of stuff.
Exactly. The only table conversations were Shu Khabar, Su Samachar, share market, all of that. Yes. But
so how did it happen?
Still, luckily, at that time the scenario was changing, and now it's so much more different. There are many musical colleges. There are a lot of Gujaratis who are taking up music. So I think that's a big cultural shift that has happened in Gujarat.
Is there like a single famous Gujarati classical musician?
Pandit Omkarnath Thakur, to name just one, but he was a great legend. And I would like to reach there. I'm on my way, I'm
All
sure.
Right. Okay, thank you. And for you, was it part of your tradition, part of your ambitions?
Well, honestly, coming from a family of musician, I'm the sixth generation representative.
I was about to
of
say
this.
that. So it's in your blood in a way, no?
Sorry,
It's in your blood in a sense.
somehow.
So
Somehow.
you always knew you take up the family tradition?
I mean, when I started learning, I was told to play with the sitar, not to play it. It was like a toy-sized sitar, and it was never a plan as such because at the age, at that point of time where I started playing sitar, I didn't know what choice means. So somehow it just was a way of life rather than choosing a choice.
You think in retrospect, if you'd had a choice, you'd have still chosen this?
I mean, as I grew older, I realized that the only thing that I am good in is music. So somehow I
But
felt-
how do you know? You didn't try anything else.
I mean, I tried sports, I studied,
That's okay. The studies no good or?
not that good.
Okay. But music
I don't know
brilliant.
if I should say this here
No,
or
no,
not.
but music brilliant. Yeah. So there was
Yeah.
there was an absolute tendency.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You guys realize then? Did you realize when you were young that you could make a living out of music?
Well, I really didn't. So I play music on the iPad. When I was young, I didn't even know what an iPad was. It eventually just happened. But I was always interested in music, and even my education, my bachelor's is in audio engineering, and my master's is in music technology. So I worked towards a musical career.
So I've heard that you play music on the iPad
Yeah.
and all of that. How did that happen? I don't know that many people who do
So
that.
initially I bought the iPad to play games,
Okay, like everybody else.
like everybody else.
Yeah.
But then, as I was studying music technology, I realized that there's not really, for Indian classical music, there wasn't really an avenue to use synthesizers to play Indian classical music. Because even when I was playing the piano, you couldn't achieve a meend or a gamak or something like that on a piano. So I discovered this app called GeoShred 10 years ago. It was built for Western music. And I discovered that you could actually move and slide between notes on the iPad.
For people who are not musicians, explain what that means.
So-
Slide between notes.
Okay, so let's say you have a keyboard. You have so many different keys, right?
Yeah.
And each key represents a certain frequency. And
Okay.
if you play a note and if you play the note right next to it, there's a difference in frequency.
Okay.
When you slide between the notes, you're able to access all of the frequencies in between. Like when you bend a rubber band,
I
you
get
can,
that.
yes. So that's what I was able to do. And in Indian music, if you're playing, if you want to achieve all of the little ornamentations, that is a necessary feature, and that's not present in a keyboard or a piano. But with this app, I was able to do it, so I decided to develop a technique to play Indian music on this by myself.
So I was going to ask you that. Are you the first person to do this?
Yeah, I
You
think-
probably are,
Yeah,
no?
yeah. So it's just a technique I've been working on.
I think he's being modest. He is the first person.
You are the first person, right? So
Yes,
you've gone where no man has been before, in a way, right?
Yeah, it's been a very interesting journey, and it's still a work in progress, but it's a very enjoyable thing that I do.
So you talked about audio technology, and you're a music producer as well.
Yes.
Do you think Indian classical benefits from better audio technology, or you feel there's not much it can contribute?
Of course. so-
Producing stuff like that.
Yeah, so I'm also a music producer. So the thing is, Indian classical music, both of them will agree, is one of the most complex forms of music in the world, and
The most complex one, right?
the most
Complex
complex.
of all,
Yes,
yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
And the potential is, there are infinite possibilities, and my endeavor is to just, explore those possibilities and see how much I can push it using technology. So that's
And you are pushing it, right? It's
well,
working.
That's that's what I believe.
Yeah. Do you feel, coming from 6 generations of classical musicians, do you feel that technology can enhance the experience, or do you feel that what your great-great-great-grandfather did really can't be better?
I mean, yes, it helps tremendously. Indian classical music used to be only in the form of Haveli Sangeet and Mehfil sort
Yeah.
of gatherings, but now it has moved to auditoriums and even bigger stadiums and venues like that. So it has drastically changed the scope of
Yeah.
people enjoying the music of us.
Also, the recording technique surely should make a difference, no?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. I remember interviewing Ravi Shankar years and years ago, and in the 1960s, he'd done a series of not classical, but sort of jazz, classical duets with Bud Shank, the flautist. And he said he thought the sound on those records, because they were all done in America, made so much difference. It was so much better, the sound of anything he'd done in India. So it does make some difference. No?
It does. I guess when you're recording, I can speak about sitar, when you're recording sitar in a studio. That last resonance which comes out of your instrument can only be recorded now because we have those kind of microphones and technologies. So it's a win-win situation now.
You're the expert, so you think the sitar will sound better now with technology? Because most of us, we will not get lucky enough to hear him live, but we'll always have his recordings and stuff like that. So you think the technology enhances the experience, even with as ancient an instrument as the sitar or the sarod or something?
So today we are living in an age where we are actually able to record something, and we are actually able to perform for audiences of 1,000, 1,500 years, like people. So imagine 100 years before, amplification wasn't really a thing.
Sure.
So because of that, how it started, a lot more people were able to listen at the same time. And now because of the recording technology, which has gotten better over the years, the clarity of recordings has also gotten better. Now, before we had, you have tapes, before that you had wax cylinders, and now you have high definition wave and MP3s. So the quality of recordings, you can hear, as he said, you can hear every single thing, and you can do whatever you want with it. So
you're not one of those people who thinks that analog preserves the warmth better than digital?
That is subjective.
No, so I'm asking you what you believe.
So everything has a place, but the thing is analog, I'm a fully digital person.
That's why I'm asking you.
So, so right now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the analog feel in a digital way.
So what is the analog feel? You're conceding that there is a difference.
Yeah, so basically there's the whole thing, like things used to sound better back in the day. So when you record on an analog, so you record on a tape, or you record on, say, a wax cylinder, whatever you want to record on, there is a certain aspect of sound that adds. So the tape hiss, the warmth of the tape machine. Today in the digital world, everything is super clear. What you hear is what you get.
But it's also, the argument would be cold and clinical. Is that valid? Yeah.
It does exist, but at the end of the day, it's also about what you want the audience to hear. So
and you want them to hear cold and clinical or warm?
It's somewhere in between.
All right, okay, you've answered that very well. How much difference does all this make to a singer? Because you're a singer and a performer, right? So how much difference does all this technology and all that make?
Yes, so when we talk about technology, it's a very broad term for music.
Okay.
And I think the one thing that's going to completely shift the music and how we listen and how we experience music is the AI. Because if I record something in my voice, and AI can completely replace it with Ed Sheeran's voice, with Lata ji's voice. We've been seeing a lot of videos going viral. So as you mentioned, being cold, I mean, it's something that I have sung, but it's been replaced by AI, and it's already happening. A lot of songs you will hear, you may probably not be able to know whether it's AI or it's actually composed. Because it's all permutation and combination, and AI has all the data of all the great songs. So if you say that, hey, AI, I want a great hit song for 2025, and it's very much possible that it can do that. And we have been kind of experimenting with that, and we're doing something.
But it's a good thing that you can sort of replace your voice with Lata Mangeshkar, or it's a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing for sure, because when internet came, that was exactly the feeling, right? That internet is going to corrupt us and too much of things happening over here. I see AI as a great tool as of now. And even if it's there, if it's doing things, I know it cannot put soul into it. Soul
comes from the person, So we were talking, when your kind of music, the way in which it's recorded, the way in which it's mic'd, the way in which it's amplified are often crucial in this day and age. So yes, sitars will, I think, sound better with the advantage of technology when recorded. But do you think AI and all that will make any difference to you?
I mean, I haven't used AI in include to include it in sitar much, so to say much about it. But I feel that sense of emotion which comes out of a human might not be replaced somehow. That's what I feel like.
Oh,
A bit of.
You're absolutely right. I mean, there's definitely a robot and a human being. No?
I mean, when you see examples of today's song being sung in the voice of Rafi Sahab,
Yeah.
the great Rafi Sahab, somehow those expressions and feelings are there. So, as I said, I haven't used it enough to say if it will be able to do
So
it
you
or
have
not.
an open mind?
I feel yes.
Okay. Are you worried about the fact that technology now means that you can be a star without knowing how to sing because everything will be set right by programs? You can create music that depends on music somebody else created. Does that worry you at all?
I don't think so because all of us believe that musical training and the rigorous practice that we go through, all of it has a lot of value. And at the bottom line, I don't think any of us will pay money to see a robot perform on stage. All of us want to see a band.
Agreed.
Well, you could argue we're doing that already with boy bands and the like, but never mind, go on, yeah. Yeah, but you don't think that the warmth, the essential intimacy of a man performing or a woman performing for an audience, now with this sort of bridge of technology, something has changed in that?
So I can say for myself, so AI, I use it as a tool. I don't use it to replace myself. It's a
Well,
tool.
you'd be out of a job if you did, but I think, but generally people can use it to replace you, no?
You see, like it depends on what you want to do.
Yeah.
If you want to do something that's cliche, because AI at the end of the day learns from data. It has
Yeah,
to. It
absolutely.
cannot create something. It needs a data set to learn from.
Yeah.
And whatever it creates is based on somebody else's idea, and that is a human idea, correct? At the end of the day, kind of.
All
You
right,
can, you can argue with that.
okay, I think we've taken this as far. What do you enjoy? Do you enjoy the performing part of it, or do you enjoy listening to recordings of your own music?
I love performing. The
Yeah.
stage is my home. I'm the most alive on stage.
And you're, of course, from a long tradition of people who perform for live audiences, right?
I mean, you cannot match anything with the live performance. Going on stage, getting ready to go on stage, and doing the sound check and the entire experience, it's unmatched. Going there to play for your audience and to see those smiles on the faces of your audience and getting the standing ovation, this is something that can never be, I mean, replaced by anything.
Yeah.
For me personally.
And you would agree with that, I hope.
Yes, I love to perform for an audience as well.
Okay. So you know why I've come here, because I'm setting you up because you've got to perform now. So please go ahead, take it away.
Thank you.
So our thanks to ABP Network for putting all of us three together. This is the first time we are on stage together. And music is magic. Even though we are performing for the first time, there will be a lot of things that will happen on stage, a lot of interactions, a lot of emotions and feelings will be exchanged on stage. And the theme of this piece is healing through music. Shanti. Om Shantirantariksam Shantiः Prithvi Shantirapah Shantiroshadayah Shantiः Vanaspatayah Shantirvishve Devaः Shantirbrahma Shantiः Sarva Shantiः Shantireva Shantiः Sama Shantirevi.
How fabulous was that? That was amazing. You had what? Generations of music in your blood. You used technology in a way that nobody has ever used it. And you're clearly a superstar in the making. So it was really a fabulous, fabulous supergroup. Who wrote the piece?
We did it together.
All of you. So it's a
Yes.
real collaboration.
Yes.
And this is the first time.
Yes.
But it won't be the last. You
Absolutely.
guys
Thank
were
you.
amazing together. Thank you so much. A big, big, big hand.
Thank you so much to these wonderful young musicians who've taken the roots of Indian tradition of our classical sounds and given them such a new edge, cool, vibey feel, haven't they? So let's hear it once more for our wonderful, wonderful musicians, Mahesh, Raghavan, Nirali, Kartik and Mehtab, Niazi. We're looking forward to more such pieces from this kind of collaboration, but we now would like to invite on stage Rupali Fernandez, CRO, ABP Network, to please join us and felicitate our lovely musicians. Rochita Day, Director, Shri Leathers, I request you to please join us on stage as well. And I also would invite Supriya Fale, VP, APML Limited, to join us on stage and celebrate these young musicians that are taking Indian music to the world.